Everybody, welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. Today, we will be reacting to Roblox Richest players. Before we get into anything, make sure you go check it out, cubing, give credit where credit is due. And let's try to get like 3 likes on this video. And I will be leaving the video in the link in the description so y'all can watch it on your own. And let's just get to it.
Imagine making millions of dollars by simply playing Roblox.
Nope, stop the video. That's literally impossible.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, bro, his editing is so good, bro. I don't know why I'm not subscribed to him, bro.
Are you sure about that?
That's just one of the few who turned their love for Roblox into billions of Robux, the largest games on the planet, real historical moments, and more. But to find out how they did this, we need to dive into their full stories one by one, beginning with Stickmasterluke. Upon joining Roblox, Luke was your average 14-year-old kid playing games and having fun. But he wasn't happy being just a player. He wanted to make a game go big. His main goal with this was not just to get rich, but to also prove that with enough passion, you can bring a whole community together. Except, the odds of this happening were close to zero. We're talking about 2007. To give you a sense of this, here's an average game from our time. That was epic. How do you even make that? And compare that to one from Luke's time. What even is that? With nothing to work with, maybe his dream was already dead. But if you truly want to achieve your goals, you should never be afraid to take that first step. Welcome to the underground war. Even with nothing, Luke tried his best. Despite its flaws, players somehow found joy out of terrorizing other players, which led to the game reaching a couple thousand visits.
This kid is going places.
Although it's not much, this was amazing for Luke, cause the thing is, Roblox back then paid you virtual money whenever someone joins your game. So instead of relaxing, Luke grinded out a butt ton of games in the following years, getting more players and more money from his fun, simple ideas, as well as showing them off on YouTube, which clearly worked. His original ideas sparked some of the most well-known Roblox players, so obviously he deserves some amount of fortune. But even with this money, he can easily lose it all if he didn't spend it wisely. No way you're spending all that Robux on one single hat. In hindsight, this may seem like a dumb move, but you'll see why it's genius. But to make the money back, Luke worked really hard on his games, making each one better than the last. But rather than making them flashy like modern games, he focused on making them replayable, meaning you can play them again and again and again without getting bored. This led to him reaching 10 million visits, meeting actual Roblox admins, and most importantly, buying a bunch of hats for some reason. But this would all change on one fateful day. It's 2011 and Luke got a message from a special person. Roblox himself?
I noticed your games are getting so much love from the community. Why not come work here?
Wait, this has to be fake. No way a child can work for Roblox, right?
We caught up with Luke Weber, Roblox's newest employee.
And all while being an 18-year-old kid.
Most of my friends are like flipping burgers and stuff like that, and I feel kind of bad for them because I actually got this opportunity for this great job and everything.
With this amount of power, he can easily abuse it when things don't go his way. But no, he stayed true to himself and kept learning how to develop. Thanks to this, he made even more Robux by selling his own items. But just as you thought he couldn't get richer, one of his oldest games randomly blew up. You may be wondering how a game this basic blew up 4 years later. Well, the answer is in the gameplay. Welcome to NDS. You spawn on this platform, get drafted to this island, and a random disaster is chosen to annihilate you and everyone you love. A bit repetitive, right? I mean, the game itself had a lot of glitches and didn't even update much, so you may think it'll die out. That guy is screwed. But these imperfections added to the randomness and funny moments made in the game. This is exactly what players wanted. The true magic of this game is that everything is completely random. You don't know what to expect, which makes it really replayable. But with the entire community at his fingertips, Luke needed to play his cards right. To prevent the game from getting boring, he added a multi-disaster machine. This allowed rich people to, bring hell down to earth, spicing up the game. But even with an update schedule worse than mine, the game still made a ton of money from players paying to win, and I am definitely not one of them. But even still, this wasn't Luke's biggest flow of Robux.
That is cap.
That would be the Hatsy bot. Back then, they were a lot cheaper, costing a few hundred Robux. But as time went by, the price of the hats, especially his Dominus, rose to millions, making him even wealthier. But despite the success, Luke remained humble and continued to help with huge events and kept his game simple, causing them to thrive. But even with billions of visits, the second most valuable account, and a fat pay from Roblox, there's far more impressive millionaires in our community. Unlike Luke, SnickTrix joined a lot later in time. He wanted to spice up Roblox cause the games were getting stale. Although we had more players, we also had higher competition and higher standards for games. Oh yeah, and game visits no longer convert into Robux. But unlike most devs, SnickTrix did have experience with Minecraft servers and even made a cute Roblox farm game, which didn't get much, but combining these two ideas, he spent months working on a project that can fail or change his life forever. Most devs back then would create the same kind of game over and over and over, but SnickTrix took the risk of creating Minecraft-themed Roblox games, the first being Skyblock. You spawn on this tiny island, and use what little you have to make something great. Despite the effort, Minecraft clones usually fail, so Skyblock started off slow. Never mind. Maybe it wasn't so bad to make something different, but SnickTrix was shocked at how fast his game blew up. Perhaps it was the great game mechanics or the progressive nature, but players started playing and money started flowing.
Minecraft actually costs money, but on this game you essentially get the exact same experience without having to pay any sort of money whatsoever.
This means that everyone can play it. More players, more money. But to keep the game afloat, the updates had to be creative.
And it could be the next big thing on Roblox.
This is unoriginal and disrespectful.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Roblox moderators should ban this game forever.
No way people agree with this.
This game keeps copying Minecraft.
Imagine copying Minecraft.
Copy of Minecraft Skyblock.
Copy of Minecraft. Having a ton original. Y'all stupid for playing a copy of Minecraft.
Okay, but this won't affect the game itself, right? Skyblock was all of a sudden gone. Players complained that they stole from Minecraft, so Roblox shut it down. With his biggest project dead, it seemed like SnickTrix will give up on his goal. But as a last-ditch resort, they changed the name from Skyblock to Islands, praying the ban would be lifted.
In business.
Using this second chance, he needed to play his cards right. With a whole website full of ideas, the team knew exactly what fans wanted.
What if we made it so players can visit other islands?
With better updates and better things to build in your island, players spend more time and money grinding out their base, leading to amazing creations bringing attention to the game. With everyone being obsessed with making the best base possible, you may think their game will never die out. But right as the new year started, they made the worst possible update. Since the game had so much content, players easily found ways to dupe items. This made everything less valuable, meaning less people will spend money on the game. To fix this, the devs wiped everyone's money and items. Players went ballistic, but can you really blame them? Imagine losing something valuable just because someone else broke rules. This led to many players quitting, and on top of all of that, the game got way too complicated with all these new items. With all this going on, you may think the team will call it quits. But instead of seeing this as a bad thing, SnickTrix saw this as a chance to make something new and great. With the knowledge, money, and attention he got from Islands, he spent months on a new game with the goal of getting emotions out of people. And that game was Roblox Bedwars. Unlike Islands, Bedwars was a lot more competitive, cause instead of building and farming, you spawn on an island with infinite lives. If your bed breaks, you have 1 life left. Last team standing wins. SnickTrix had a lot of faith in the idea, so they slowly drifted away from Islands to focus completely on Bedwars. But with that as their main source of money, they better not mess it up. First off, SnickTrix knew Bedwars copied Minecraft, so to avoid getting banned again, he spiced it up by adding a bunch of kits, each helping you win in-game. Since players were competitive, they spent millions of Robux on them. The devs get money and players have fun. It's a win-win. But there's still one issue. Kits cost Robux, so not everyone can use them. To fix this, he added a battle pass. By grinding the game long enough, you can unlock kits for free. But some players spent 15k Robux to instantly complete the battle pass. Hopefully this won't cause any problems. And on top of all of that, the team added enchants, which made the game even more insane. You see, if you want to win in this game, you need as much loot as possible to buy OP stuff. But players found ways to combine kits and enchants to completely break the game.
I'm sick of shouting, everyone who doubted, I always dreamed about it,
Yeah. These tricks, and the gameplay in general, always made players rage. To get revenge, they spent more money on OP kits. On the flip side, he made just as much from kit gifting. This allowed GigaChats to spend thousands of dollars gifting everyone kits. But also, SnickTrix gets a percent of the money. More players equals more gifting equals more money. Another smart move from the devs was adding win streaks. Basically how many times you win in a row. Because of this, players spent weeks building insane win streaks, having everyone cheer for them, only to lose it to a hacker, which, to be fair, added more hype to the game. But to keep Bedwars alive for as long as possible, the devs had to update as much as they can. So throughout the year, every week they added game modes, kits, OP items, you name it. It seemed like every day there's some new game-breaking glitch, which made the game feel infinite. But all this hype led to an inevitable problem. Picture this. You stumble across Bedwars for the first time. You join a match and hope to learn the ins and outs of... Considering we had 45 kits, it was nearly impossible for new players to play, because anyone can get these broken kits by spending crazy amounts of Robux. Players went ballistic over the unfairness. To fix this, the devs added relics, basically free upgrades at the start of each match. It's the right idea, but...
God, just remove relics, it's literally luck-based.
I forgot to mention, relics were chosen randomly. All it did was make Bedwars luck instead of skill. Yes, the kits made millions of dollars, but if pro players and new players felt excluded, what's the point? SnickTrix had a new goal, not to make as much Robux as possible, but to make Bedwars truly fair for everyone. To do this, we need to figure out what made the game unfair. Firstly, no one likes fighting a tryhard with an unfair kit, so the devs made a kitless game mode, Murder in Bedtown, a murder mystery type game. And yes, in the past, we did have free-to-play game modes, but those still had tryhards and hackers, and no one likes that. Overall, Murder in Bedtown gave new players something exciting, because all you needed was to watch out for the murderer. But that wasn't enough. Next up, they made the better kits free, so new players had a chance to level up in the battle pass. For context, free kits go free each week, but they usually sucked. But even with these changes, a balanced game needs more balanced game modes, so the devs got to work on two special ones. The same kit mode, where everyone has the exact same kit, and OG mode. Unlike all the other game modes, this one had no kits, no forge, and no unfair shenanigans. Because of their thoughtfulness, many old players came back just to play these game modes. I guess simple and fair always wins. But the best for last, the devs used an old feature from 2021. Custom matches. This lets you make your own Bedwars game and spawn any item, which on its own kept the game alive for a bit. But the devs took it a step further by adding scripts, allowing you to modify your game and add basically anything. Like seriously, I honestly thought this wasn't possible for Roblox. This gave each player a chance to make their own game mode, and even make money by selling scripts. By giving players some kind of control, it's kinda hard for it to get boring. Unlike most devs, SnickTrix successfully made a fair and endless game. But even with 10 billion combined visits, 2 innovation awards in the same day, and a team of hardworking devs, there's always a bigger fish in the sea. While SnickTrix saw Minecraft as inspiration, Indra loved fighting games and saw them as inspiration. With this newfound love, him and his brother spent years in their garage, making anime fighting games and following their inspiration. But none of the games went far. However, all this work didn't completely go to waste. Along the way, they met a bunch of like-minded people.
We all want to make a successful fighting game. Let's put all our skills together and make this happen.
Now with some extra hands, he was able to create 2 pretty decent games. The first one kinda bombed, but it got recognized by a pretty special person. But as for the second one...
Might not last, but #1 PC game is pretty cool.
That was fast. Players love the game idea. All you gotta do is pick an element and start swinging. It's so simple, which means any player can get into it. But the billion-dollar question is, how will Indra stay on top? Yes, getting up was easy, but staying up is a much bigger challenge. Surprisingly, Elemental Wars wasn't his final vision of a Roblox game. Even with all of this, he was yet to reach his full potential.
This would be a cool Roblox game.
This is One Piece, one of Indra's favorite animes and conveniently, the #1 show in the world. Using the cool mechanics from his previous games, he and his team made a sequel, Blox Piece, with the goal of spreading his love for his favorite show. At first glance, Blox Piece looked a bit generic, but the real genius was in the gameplay. Since One Piece was so popular, Indra took a lot of things from the show and applied it to his game. With 12 different fruits that had abilities similar to the show, surely it'll appeal to the millions of One Piece fans. But to actually make them play, Indra made sure that all the mechanics were flawless.
Bro, they got the Buddha fruit? That's my favorite in the show. Shut up and take my money.
Following the successful release, Indra continued to add fruits, islands, weapons, and NPCs based on the popular show. He also let One Piece fans decide the next update, which overall made the game more interactive and prosper financially. But after this, Indra completely switched his plan. Usually, he would do mini updates weekly, which players loved. But one day he thought,
what if we put all our effort into one big update instead?
That might work, but players will have to wait longer for updates. But if you want to stay on top, you need to take risks. So for the next 3 months, the team worked non-stop on their biggest update yet, hoping players won't forget them. With a second world, many new fruits, cooler weapons, and higher levels to grind for, players had so much to do, which led to them inventing the first major challenge. You start with nothing, buy a fruit, and only use that to get max level. Not only did this flood Indra's bank account, but also motivated new players, and gave the game promotion. But even with a very dedicated fanbase, Indra still didn't have an identity. He built his entire game from One Piece, which not only seemed unoriginal, but One Piece themselves were striking games that replicated them. To prevent having an islands moment, Indra rolled out another big update, completely revamping the game. From simple mechanics to the game name itself, Indra made sure it's still like One Piece but had its own blocky charm. That way, One Piece fans will still like it, but it may appeal to more players. Another way Indra expressed himself was giving back to people, mainly Axior, a longtime fan who made viral videos on the game. In return, Indra and his friends gave him front row seats to special admin powers. From flying boats to never-before-seen abilities. What made these clips surreal is that these powers are so different from the normal fruits everyone loved using. Not only did players obsess over them, but also made lore out of it. Since Blox fruits had a whole story now, players stuck around to see the story develop. And develop it did. As time went by, players got more and more obsessed on the latest and greatest fruits, spending millions of Robux on private servers to grind levels in peace. Although Indra made a fortune from this, he didn't waste it on hats, cars, or drugs, and instead spent it on making bigger updates such as Fruit Awakenings, which basically
Bro, did he say drugs, bro?
Although Indra made a fortune from this, he didn't waste it on hats, cars, or drugs, and instead spent it on making bigger updates such as Fruit Awakenings, which basically buffs your fruit's abilities. You gotta act broke to stay rich. And although he didn't need to, he added YouTubers in the game as NPCs, a nice token of appreciation. But in the next 6 months, the game only updated one time. But the thing is, Blox fruits didn't need as many updates. Each one was already massive, plus it was very replayable, with dozens of fruits and 2 massive realms to fight in. The possibilities were endless. Plus, it was easy for new players cause they can't get attacked. And just like before, Indra knew how to keep players hyped. Knowing how competitive the game was, he and his brother made 2 enemy clans, kinda like a friendly rival to keep players on their toes.
Where's this redhead? Time to die.
Okay, maybe not so friendly. While the devs stayed quiet, players sure didn't. Using their wild imagination, they came up with better and better PvP combos, with the fruits and fighting styles from the last big update. This randomness made the game a lot more competitive, which is exactly what Indra would have wanted. Wow, if the game was this hype without updates, imagine what'll happen if... With 3 massive worlds and a new level cap, let's just say the 6-month wait was worth it. By spending more time on fruit designs, weapons, and pretty much everything, players were more motivated to spend days trying to get them. Not because it's from One Piece, but because of how awesome they look. But to make the community stronger, Indra added trading. Every fruit had its own value to prevent scammers. This made fruits like Pokemon trading cards rather than blocky weapons. But best of all, this inspired viral challenge videos where you start with the worst fruit and then trade your way to the best. After this, videos where you start with the worst fruit and then trade your way to the best. After this, Indra wondered how big his game could get. His plan wasn't to squeeze money out of players, but to make the best updates possible and keep players playing. Cause if his fans were happy, he was happy.
So today I made over 100 accounts in order to spin for the new legendary leopard fruit in Blox fruits. Let's see if we can get it or not. What are we gonna get? What an anticlimactic way to end off this video.
The new fruits took so long to get, which gave players a reason to keep playing. So following this, he added V4 Awakenings. Basically insane fighting abilities, but you need to follow an entire story for a chance of getting them, which not only added to the lore, but made fighting a lot more immersive. While Indra worked on the next big update, he took some time to realize Blox fruits may have started with him, but it definitely outgrew him. Despite the effort he put into each update, he couldn't have gotten this far without the help of others. So to pay respects, he made a whole event to thank his fans for 10 billion visits, mailed a Rolex to Axior, and lastly, wrote a little poem to thank his brother for sticking around, even after years of failed games.
We struggled together, and now we shine together.
Oh, and speaking of shining, welcome to Update 20. For 8 whole months, Indra poured his heart into the update, so fans poured their hearts back into playing. The new fruits, locations, and bosses were so spectacular that it not only broke the player record, but also crashed Roblox 12 times that day. But the crazy part is, that's just part 1 of Update 20. Considering he's always planning ahead, I'm sure Indra will have many more years of bringing joy to players and YouTubers, and inspire other devs to do the same. I guess true passion always wins in the end.
We did it, boys.
But doesn't that make you realize, despite being 3 different players, they all have one thing in common. No, not their insane amounts of money, but their true love for making Roblox games. Their main goal wasn't to make some cash grab, but to create something that'll be remembered for years to come. Cause at the end of the day, money is temporary, but your legacy can live forever. But considering how massive Roblox is, there's a lot of people I left out. So if we somehow get 100k likes, I promise to make a part 2 with even crazier players. So if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and comment who you want to see in the next video.
Alright, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will leave the link in the descriptions. And if we get 3 likes, I'll watch the part 2 on. I'll watch the part 2. Don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and see ya later.